Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. It's time for another NetGalley check-in. So I'm planning on doing these quarterly. My first video on this was back in January and I was talking about how many NetGalley books I still had to read and how many books I also had on EW. So if you don't know, NetGalley and Edelweiss, they're both online platforms where bloggers and reviewers can request books from publishers and you receive an electronic advanced reader's copy of the book, so you can read it on your Kindle or on whatever device you choose. On NetGalley in particular, you're working up to a percentage. So publishers tend to like you to have 80%, which means that you've reviewed 80% of the books that you've requested. However, my percentage is lower than that. Many people's percentage is lower than that because often people go on NetGalley sprees and just request a bunch of books, and I'm definitely guilty of that. In my experience, not many publishers seem to mind. I still get approved for most of the books that I request, so it's not really an issue in regards to not having access to the books that I would like to review on my platforms and which ones I think I would like to recommend to my audiences. It's just something I personally would like to work on because it feels good to have a high NetGalley percentage, and it feels good to actually be able to promote and talk about the books that I have requested, that I have been excited about for quite a while. So that's why I'm going to be doing these quarterly check-ins for NetGalley and EW. Today I'm particularly going to be focusing on NetGalley just because I haven't really added up my EW scores, at least recently, because I've been reading a lot more books on NetGalley, because in January I set myself the goal of reaching 56% on NetGalley, because in January I was at 52%, I think, maybe 53. I'm really pleased to say that I have hit 56%. I'm slightly over as well, so I'm well on my way to hitting 57%. This means that I have reviewed 158 books of the 278 that I have requested. So I do still have quite a few more. I have 120 books still to read. I just want to add like a quick disclaimer in here that I requested these books over the past 11 years of blogging and booktubing, and over the years either books have kind of just fallen on the wayside, I've lost interest in them, or I've taken various blogging and booktubing breaks because I got a full-time job and I've been promoted. Things in my personal life have happened, so over those 10 years there have been a few books that have fallen along the wayside, and so it's my goal to get to those. I have been requesting fewer books this year. I have noticed I've kind of taken a step back. I think in the future, in the coming months, I'm going to set myself a more specific goal, but I'll talk about that at the end of the video. So like I said, my NetGalley percentage is 56%, which is what I was aiming for. My EW percentage, I'm not entirely sure what it is. I think before it was in the 60s, I think. I haven't actually kept track, so I will do that for the next video, I promise. I just wanted to quickly talk about a few of the books that I will be reading very, very soon from NetGalley. There are 6 or 7 here that I am dying to read. I cannot wait to get to, and they're coming out in the next couple of months. So the first one is coming out in April. I think it's coming out towards the end of the month, but don't quote me on that. It's called Dustborn by Erin Bowman. This is the author of Taken, which was shit, and also Contagion, which I really, really liked. It was a really good sci-fi book, sci-fi horror. It kind of like had an alien vibe if you're into that. This one, Dustborn, is a post-apocalyptic Western style. I think it's set in kind of either the Dust Bowl or like the Wild West, and I'm really looking forward to reading it. I'm hoping to get to it this week. The next one is called The Prison Healer, which is a YA fantasy about a rebellion. So the prison healer works in a prison and she has to keep the captured queen alive, and then the rebels tell her to hold on, keep her alive, we're coming for her. So I think she starts working with the rebellion. She probably has to kind of help the queen break free of prison, and it sounds really good. I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be kind of not a deep YA fantasy. I'm expecting it to be really fast-paced and exciting, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to reading it. The next 5 books come out in May or June. I haven't actually written down the dates here. I probably should have prepared more for this video, but I didn't. First one is It Goes Like This. This is a YA debut, and I can't remember what it's about. I think it's YA contemporary, and it's about 4 or 5 friends who used to be in a band together, and then the band splits up, and then they have to come together again and kind of air out their differences, grievances, and become friends again, I think. This is one that I requested back in December. I honestly can't remember what it's about, but I'm looking forward to reading it nonetheless, and because it's YA contemporary, I'm expecting to fly through it. There's also The House of Sticks, which I requested in September last year, and I don't remember requesting it. I think I got excited because there was a 2021 book up on NetGalley already, and I was just like, yeah, let's do it. So I think this might be a fantasy book. I have no idea other than that what it's about, so I'm gonna have to read it and find out. The next one is The Kingdoms, which is a timey-wimey alternate universe kind of thing. It's been compared to The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which which is a book that I loved, and everyone says that it's really good for fans of that book. So I am hyped to read this one. I don't know anything about the plot. I want to go into it not knowing anything so that I can get like the full experience, and I'm hoping to read this at the end of this month. I was thinking about maybe reading it for the 24-hour readathon next week, but I think I'll hold back just because it's probably one that I want to take my time with and really kind of dive into, because it's going to be kind of a complicated story. The next one is Shards of Earth. This one is a adult sci-fi. This is by the author of Children of Time, which I really enjoyed. It's about sentient spiders. It's really creepy. This one, I don't know what it's about. I just saw that it was by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and it's another sci-fi book, so I went ahead and requested it. Again, this one I'm going to read hopefully towards the end of this month or beginning of May. I'd really like to read it soon though, because I did really enjoy his previous book. I don't know, I just have really high hopes for it. And then finally, the next book that I want to focus on is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this one, it's a standalone, but I think it has a minor character from Daisy Jones and the Six in it, so it's kind of set in the same universe. At least we know it all takes place in the same universe. I've been really enjoying Taylor Jenkins Reid's new books. I didn't really like her previous ones. I've only read one so far, but because I am now really enjoying them, I've decided to do a Taylor Jenkins Reid project in which I read all of their books, the ones that I haven't read so far, and I'm going to decide which ones is the best. So at the moment it's Daisy Jones and the Six. I love that book so much, especially as an audiobook, but I want to read all the ones that I haven't read, possibly reread Daisy Jones, obviously read Malibu Rising, and then get a video up, and I'm going to tell you guys which one's my favourite, which one's my least favourite, and which one I think I would recommend to kind of everyone on a global scale. So I'm really excited for that. I'm going to start doing that project towards the end of this month. I'm not sure when Malibu Rising comes out in the US, but in the UK I think it's the last week of May. So I have, as of the time I'm recording this, over a month to sort myself out. So I need to, the libraries are opening up actually tomorrow as I'm recording this. I might be able to nab a couple of her books from the library, we'll see. I'm really looking forward to doing this project. I have such high hopes for this book. So those are the books I'm going to be focusing on. And now for my NetGalley and EW goals. Okay, so for NetGalley, I'm now at 56%, like I said, and I'm thinking I'm going to get up to 60 by the next quarter. So I would next be updating you in July. Yeah, like mid-July, late July, maybe early August for my next update video. And I think I can get up to 60%. So I need to read 2.8 books. So let's say 3. I need to read 3 books in order to go up 1%, and I only need to go up 4%. So I do think that I can manage this. That's 12 books over the next couple of months, and I have some really good books coming up, so I do think I can manage that. In order to help me do this as well, I'm going to set myself the goal for the foreseeable future to keep an eye on the publication dates of the NetGalley books that I'm requesting, because that's not something that I normally do, which is really bad of me. I should probably do that. So I do tend to get a bunch of books that are due around the same time, because publishers tend to choose the same publication dates. Like some publication dates are a lot more popular than others, and so I end up with just a stack that's coming out on the same day, and that's really quite annoying and frustrating because I can't get to all of those books in time, especially if I get approved really late for them, which is also something that often happens. So going forward, I think I'm going to try to only request 3 books for the same publication date and a maximum of 5 per month. So I'm going to have to keep a very close eye on the publication dates of these books because I wouldn't want to fall behind. And I realised 3 for the same publication date could be quite ambitious, but if I limit it also to 5 books per month, so I'm only allowed to request 5 June books, for example, and set the limit there, I think it should be achievable. I don't really want to limit myself too much in terms of the actual publication date, so May, I don't know, 7th or whatever the Tuesday is, just because, as I said, some dates are more popular with publishers, so it's more than likely there will be multiple books that I'm interested in for one specific date, and then other publication dates will just be a bit quieter for me. So yeah, in summary, I will be able to choose 3 books from a certain publication date, and once I have requested those, I have to stop. If I get denied, then that's fine, I can request another one, but I'm only allowed to have 3 books for one publication date, and I'm only allowed to have 5 books for 1 month. If I do somehow manage to get ahead really early and I end up reading, I don't know, 5 September books by June, which is very ambitious, I don't think I'll be able to do that, and then I completely clear September, then I'm going to be able to request more. But I don't really want to go requesting 5 books at the beginning of September because then that will stress me out even more. So if it's something like June, July, and September's completely clear for me, that's fine. If I'm now in late August, early September, I'm not going to request a bunch of September books. So I'm really enjoying this kind of challenge goal that I'm aiming towards. I feel a lot better about myself as well because I feel like I'm not wasting publishers' time. I feel like I'm really helping to promote a bunch of authors. So I'm having a really good time with it, and it's not stressing me out at all, which is really good. And I'm really enjoying reading on my e-reader recently as well. I found that because I've been getting quite tired in the evenings, but I've been struggling to fall asleep. If I read on my Kindle with the lights off, then it's a lot easier for me to fall asleep after a couple of chapters. But that also means that I'm not just lying there in the dark waiting to get to sleep. So that's really good as well, and it's been really helping. This is probably part of the reason why I've read so many ebooks. Like I said, I'm really sorry that I didn't include my EW stats. I just completely forgot until this past weekend that I was going to be doing this updates video, and then I didn't have time to do all the adding up because EW doesn't actually count the percentage for you, and I'll have to do some maths and figure out which books I have and haven't reviewed, which ones I've read and haven't read. So I will do that in the future. I'll be more prepared and we can compare how I was doing in January with how I'm doing then, or how I'm going to be doing. I don't really know what I'm saying. So that's my NetGalley update. Let me know in the comments below what your NetGalley score is, what you're working towards, if you're happy with your score at the moment. I will say though, please don't stress out over NetGalley. Like, you are doing this, I assume, for free. So if it's not 100%, please don't worry. I promise you, the publishers, if they're bigger publishers, they're not worried if you're not reviewing every single book. Obviously, if you've requested like 600 books and you've read absolutely zero, then they might cut you off, but then it's up to them to cut you off, isn't it? Like, that is partly their fault for continuing on and approving someone who has that bad of a ratio, but I'm sure you don't. Please remember that you're doing this as a fun hobby and try not to get too stressed. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.